Zaccura! Hello, I'm Zaccura and welcome back to my channel, and today's video is just a little digital speed paint of a quick drawing I did a few days ago. I wasn't really sure if I should have posted the video for this since it was really just a little drawing, so I wasn't really sure if it'd be very interesting to watch. To be honest though, I actually posted the drawing already on social media, and I asked people if they were interested in seeing the process video, and they all said yeah they would, so I was like, alright. So right now you see me doing the line work for this drawing. This doodle sketch thing was actually kind of inspired from when I was just doing some other doodles, and I kind of accidentally set my inking pen to be like really big, like really big, and then I was just doing line work that had like really thick lines, and I kind of thought like, hey, that looks kind of interesting, so I was like, hey, maybe I can make an actual little drawing with using these kind of really thick lines. Then after that was done, I happened to be just browsing on Art Amino, hashtag not sponsored. But yes, I am on Art Amino, link in my description box. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, I'm just on there because it's a really great community, to be honest. But anyway, I was on Art Amino, and I saw they have like these challenges all the time to help keep artists inspired, and little things that you can do. And I saw a challenge that they were having that was called the Primary Color Challenge, which was to make a drawing and coloring a drawing only using the primary colors, which are yellow, red, and blue. So I was like, hey, I already have this line art, why not give it a shot? So you can see those three little dots on the side of my screen are the yellow, red, and blue. I don't know if they're the perfect primary colors. I didn't like, get them perfect. I was just like, yeah, I'll get the brightest red, the bluest blue, and the yellowest yellow to use for this. And then when it came to the secondary colors for the green and purple, I kind of just did the same thing. I didn't actually take the yellow and blue to see what green I would get, or the red and blue to see what kind of purple I would get. So they're probably like really off, especially that purple. I mean, it's definitely like too bright for the kind of purple that red and blue would get, but hey. So it's not really totally adhering to their challenge. I guess I kind of broke the rules in that sense, but really I was more inspired by that challenge to basically have the red, blue, and the red, blue, and yellow to be the main colors of the piece, but not the only colors that I used. And I mean, I gotta say, it was actually really interesting to do, because I mean, you look at the line work for this drawing, and it's like, this girl hugging her knees, and she's drawing a happy face on the ground, and it's kind of like, ooh, it's kind of sad or depressing or whatever, and then suddenly you hit it with these really bright colors, and it's really interesting to see how that affects the painting. Because before I saw that challenge, I wasn't really sure how I was going to color it. I probably would have went for something more subdued, something grayer and stuff like that to match with the mood. But because I saw the challenge, I ended up going with this really bright color palette, and ended up being very interesting. And interesting in the sense that I find it interesting that the mood of the drawing, I feel, actually kind of was intensified by the super bright colors. I mean, it's kind of like she's hugging her knees in this pose, and that is kind of like a pose of I don't know, being scared or hiding or just something kind of sad or something, and then she's drawing this happy face on the ground, right? So it's not like a super happy drawing, and then you would think maybe putting these really bright colors on it would make it more uplifting, but in a way I feel it actually added to the emotional part of it. I feel like it actually made it feel even more, I don't know. I'm not very good at being deep, or at least articulating deepness. I mean, some of you may be wondering, like, what was the inspiration behind this pose? Oh, it's so deep. What does it mean? She's drawing this happy face, and I have no idea. I was just doodling, really, and I drew her in this pose because I like never drew this pose before, and I like challenging myself. And then after, I was like, hey, maybe she's drawing a happy face on the ground. Yeah, that's deep. It's that's interesting. I mean, honestly, after doing it, I can actually come up with some story behind what it means and whatnot. But it's like, really, they didn't have it in my head before I started drawing. So, spoiler alert: this is how all deep paintings are come to be. No, I'm just kidding. One thing that I kind of try to focus on all the time, but especially in this drawing, because I was using such vibrant colors, is color balance within a painting. You know, making sure that your hues and your lighting and stuff is harmonious within the whole illustration, so that it doesn't feel heavy in one area or something like that, unless that's what you're going for, if you're going for that kind of contrast. But in this case, you know, I wanted the whole painting to kind of be harmonious with these three colors. So and then kind of tying them together using the secondary colors with the green and the purple. I didn't really use orange, but I mean, I kind of used it ish with the light. It ended up looking kind of orange, so yeah. But basically, like you know, like I made her shirt yellow, and then her socks yellow, and then the top of her hair yellow, and that kind of creates like this triangle of color of the yellow that kind of brings the yellow throughout the entire subject of the piece. You know, same thing with the blue. Wherever there's like blue down below on her pants, and there's also blue in her hair. And the same thing with the red. There's red in her shoes, and then there's the red at the very top of her head. And I'd be lying if I said I always do this on purpose and whatnot, but I don't. And I'd say I don't really get, you know, harmony perfectly in my illustrations. Definitely something that I need to work on. But I think that harmony is something that a lot of newer artists tend to completely overlook. They don't really think about it at all, because they tend to kind of zero in on specific parts of the drawing, and they kind of forget to look at the whole piece as a whole, and how does everything look together when you tie everything together. And that is something that you should be paying attention to. I think that the best way to do this is to just step back from your piece. So just take like a few hours away from it, maybe sleep on it. And that's what I do before I post my work. I usually give myself like a day. I usually like sleep on it and then look at it the next day, because that allows you to look at it with fresher eyes. That sounds weird. But basically, you're able to see the whole picture as a whole, and you can maybe be like, hey, you know, this doesn't look totally balanced. Maybe I can edit this and change that and whatnot. So, yeah. But I know that when you're newer, because I am not a very experienced artist, and so I still get this, but not as much anymore. And that is, you'll come back to your drawing, and you'll see all those problems, but you won't just be like, oh yeah, I'll just fix that because I know exactly what's wrong. No, you'll just be looking at it and you'll be like, whoa, this doesn't look right, but I have no idea why. And I think that this just also, one, it comes from practice and just experience, so, you know. But also try analyzing other paintings and asking yourself, why do these paintings look good? And try to look at it in different ways and ask yourself questions and take notice of things that artists do. But above all else, just keep practicing and keep using different colors, and you know, and just experimenting with everything, and just trying out all weird colors, even if you think that they're gonna look really terrible with each other. Try to use them and see if you can make it look good, and you'll learn as you do this a lot. And eventually you'll just kind of do it without really noticing. Like, you just kind of naturally start to get better and better, just like you kind of naturally get better at things like anatomy. The more you do it, the better you get. It's the same thing with the colors. You'll just notice that as you progress, the more harmony your pieces will have, the more things pop, the more emotion you can get, the more feeling you can get from that, and you won't even really notice it. I mean, analyzing this picture now, you know, after it's all done and whatnot, I can see that there is some harmony in, like, for example, her shoes are red, and then the top of her head, like the very top of her head, is red. And that kind of brings the red throughout the whole image, because her shoes are kind of the lowest part of the image. I mean, like, and then especially the reflection of her shoes, it goes literally to the bottom of the canvas. And then the top of her head is the tallest part of the subject of this illustration. And at the very top, there's that red, and it kind of just picks it up and brings it out through the whole drawing. And you'd be surprised on how useful this trick is. If you ever feel like there's something like, man, like her, I don't know, her pants are just standing out too much, they're just whatever, red, and that's not what I'm trying to show. I want this whole thing to look right, not just focusing on her pants. Then you may be like, hey, maybe I'll give her a red ribbon in her hair. And you'd be really surprised on how that just really pulls everything together in an illustration, to just have that contrast of high and low that has a similar hue. Like, having something within that's really similar can really just, I don't know, just make the whole image just really pull together. It's just really pleasing to the eye, I guess. And you know, this is all coming from just a person like who I've never been to like art school, or I've never taken any classes or anything. I don't know nothing about color theory. You know, this is just really just from my own observation and practice and whatnot. So I don't know what I'm talking about. You know, FYI, spoiler. But yeah, I just feel like the whole color harmony thing, it is important especially if you're doing like paintings. You know, if you're just doing like a character design, you know, that is something that you may want to keep in mind too if you're like designing outfits. Maybe if you want to be a fashion designer. I don't know if I have any aspiring fashion designers watching my channel, but yeah, color harmony I think is important. But it's also, I mean, like, don't freak out about it. Like, don't try to be so meticulous about it and make it scientific or anything, because honestly, really what color theory is just reasoning and understanding as to why certain things look good to us. But naturally, we already know what looks good to us. You look at something and it looks good, and just color theory is just like taking the next step and asking the question, okay, why? Why does that look good? And if you actually go and study it and read about it and whatever, you'll see like, oh, there is reasons, and it really does work, you know, on paper, literally, you know, because we're drawing here, right? So if you know the tricks and all these reasonings and understandings, then you can have it as tools to use on purpose in your illustrations, so that you don't have to guess around and, you know, constantly spend a lot of time, especially trying out so many different colors and seeing how it looks individually. But at the end of the day, just do whatever looks good to you, and don't fuss about whether or not everything is harmonious. If it looks good to you, that's a good painting, you know, so that's what's most important. Well, I've really rambled on a lot in this video, but I hope you guys found it interesting or anything. I'm really curious to hear your guys' opinions on color harmony, and if you have any tricks that you'd like to share with me and with anyone else who happen to be passing by the comment section, and, you know, go ahead and share it. If you have any tricks about colors or whatever, share it. You know, I like the fact that we kind of have a little community going on here, and we can all help each other out a little bit. And well, that brings me to the end of this video. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video in any way, and if you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comment section. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on upcoming videos. I make new videos every week, usually uploading on Sundays. If you want to follow me on social media, all links to that are in the description box, where you can follow me for daily updates. And until next time, stay awesome, stay inspired, always. See ya!